TunePocket.com. TunePocket.com.
Good morning, and welcome to the Sean Farrell podcast. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's get right into it. So a lot of kids went back to school this week, first week of school. And I just thought that this video would be so appropriate for school starting back. Bullying, all types of bullying, verbal, cyberbullying, physical bullying. Just gonna read you some stuff about bullying. It can lead to less academic performance. Kids who are bullied are more likely to skip, miss school, drop out of school. Issues into adulthood, like me. They can be seen as unmotivated learners or low achievers. Children that experience verbal and physical bullying are at a greater risk of developing depression than children who do not experience bullying. Again, that was me. Lead to physical injury, social or emotional problems, or in some cases, death, depression, anxiety, long-term damage to self-esteem. Victims often feel lonely. They have thoughts of suicide or adverse reactions. And there was a study done in the 1990s that said 12 of the 15 school shootings in the 1990s, the shooters had a history of being bullied. This was in the 1990s. They did this study in the 90s, okay? Kids who bully others, they abuse alcohol, drugs. In adolescence and as adults, they get into fights, vandalize property, drop out of school, have criminal convictions, traffic citations. As adults, they can be abusive to their romantic partners, spouses, or children. Even bystanders have increased risk use of tobacco and other drugs, increased mental health problems, depression, and anxiety. They can miss or skip school. Some of the signs that you can look for that your child is being bullied: unexplainable injuries, loss of destroyed clothing, books, electronics, or jewelry, frequent headaches or stomach aches, feeling sick or faking a illness, changing eating habits, skipping meals, binge eating. Kids may come home hungry because they didn't eat lunch because they were being bullied. Sleeping difficulties or nightmares, sudden loss of friends or avoidance of social situations, hopelessness or decreased self-esteem, self-destructive behaviors such as running away from home, harming themselves, talking about suicide. It's estimated that 5.4 million students skip school due to bullying. 5.4 million students skip school due to bullying. Bullying victims can be afraid to go to school, can be afraid to ride the bus, me, be afraid to use the bathroom, be afraid of being alone in the school hallway. Some of the most common reported type of bullying is verbal, which is a whopping 79%. Social bullying is 50%, physical 29%, and cyberbullying 25%. And 80% of all high school students have encountered cyberbullying. We live in the age of TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. So, yeah. Some of the ways you can deter bullying. I saw this saying up in the school a few years ago. Be a buddy, not a bully. Speaking up, if you witness, it can reduce future bullying by 50%. 50%. The 3 R's: recognize, report, refuse. Teachers and school administrators, just be knowledgeable and observant. Involve students and parents. Set positive expectations about behavior for students as adults. For the parents of kids being bullied, observe your child for signs they might be bullied. Teach your child how to handle being bullied. Set boundaries with technology. That's where cyberbullying comes in. Parents of kids engaged in bullying, stop bullying before it starts. Make sure your home is bully free, and look for self-esteem issues. And for students, report bullying and cyberbullying. Don't bully back, and avoid being alone. Some of you may have seen Grace Peterson, who's been on the show. Grace Peterson was he was bullied. I was surprised to learn that he was bullied. And but she had a much better handle. She had a much different perspective on bullying than I did, because she had friends that could help her through that, who could help her through that, who could stop that. I never really had no friend. I never really had friends in high school. Never had friends who would step up and put a stop to it. As I say, I really didn't have no friends in high school. I really didn't. I really didn't. So it just festered and built inside of me, which eventually led to anger issues, depression, even a suicide attempt on my part early in adulthood. So I wish I had Grace's perspective at that time. I wish I had Grace's perspective at that time, but it was a different time back in 2003. Back in 2001, 2002, 2003, it was just a different time. So yeah. How many of you all out there are familiar with Chloe Bellerby? Hope I didn't butcher her name, Chloe. I'm sorry. Hope I didn't butcher her name. But who is familiar with Chloe Bellerby? Because we just recently spoke a few days ago. Chloe is a mental health advocate. She's an internet personality. She has thousands of followers on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And we actually spoke a few days ago, and we talked about just various things: suicide prevention, depression, and Chloe's story. Chloe's story. All you gotta do is just Google Chloe. Chloe Bellerby. I believe Belleby, if I'm mistaken. But yeah, we talked and read her story, and she began having panic attacks when she was 16, which eventually led to her cutting herself, binging, purging, had thoughts of suicide. She also self-harmed. She wore a wardrobe to hide her scars. She wore clothes to hide her scars. In August of 2016, she actually downed 100 pills, and she had to be rushed to the hospital. She didn't see a purpose or a reason to be alive anymore. She didn't want to play sports. She didn't want to socialize. She was diagnosed with depression. She was actually planning a second suicide attempt as well. And we talked about this the other day. And it was just so it was just a really good conversation. It was just a really good conversation we had. And she still battles suicidal thoughts to this day. And the work that she does with her mental health advocacy, she says that's the thing that keeps her going. And we talked about suicide, and I told her, I said, hey, listen, I'm at risk of suicide every day as well, because we talked about it. I asked her what was her perspective on a suicide attempt. No matter how severe or how futile it is, I asked her for her perspective on that. She said an attempt is an attempt, and it should be taken seriously, no matter how serious, no matter how futile. An attempt is still attempted. And so I believe it's been a little over 7 years ever since she tried to end her life. She did a 200-mile fundraising walk for suicide prevention. She was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2019. So not only is she battling thoughts of suicide, but she's battling multiple sclerosis as well. But that still hasn't stopped her from getting her bachelor's degree. Yeah, so she's living proof that it does get better. Chloe, I just want to say thank you for blessing me with your time, with your time to talk, Chloe. Thank you, and may God bless you on your continued mental health recovery journey. All right, that's it for the Sean Farrell podcast. This has been the Sean Farrell. I sound like a dummy. Anyway, that's it for the Sean Farrell podcast. All right, may God bless you all. Continue to have a wonderful, peaceful, tranquil weekend. Peace.